Hi, guys. My name is Matt Tyla, and I am the current offensive line coach at Fairfield Senior High School, which is a large Division I high school north of Cincinnati in the great state of Ohio. And before I get started, I just kind of want to take a moment to thank Jeff for the Blockers Offensive Line Academy and everything that he's doing to promote uh, the offensive line play and offensive line kids. Oftentimes they're overlooked. We all know that, but they are some of the most special, devoted, passionate, hardworking, humble kids that all of us have coached. And so, just thank Jeff so much for bringing awareness and providing a place where people can expand their knowledge base on offensive line play, learn maybe some tips, pointers, drills, all that good stuff to help make kids better players. Um, Quick little background about me. I've coached high school offensive line play for 19 years. Um, I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio, played football at Bowling Green State University, moved down here after graduation, and have been teaching and coaching ever since. I've been fortunate enough to only be at two places. Started my career at Middletown High School, and then moved down here to Fairfield 7 years ago. So just kind of that's my background. I feel like we do a really good job here of developing linemen, fitting their skill set with what we do. And I think that's really, really important as you go through trying to teach and develop kids is really kind of find out what they're good at. I'm going to take a little bit of a different perspective on today's presentation, and we're going to talk about zone progression and how we kind of teach that, the progression from a drill standpoint, show you why kind of our philosophy on zone blocking and how it's benefited us. Again, not a college coach, have played college football, understand the nuances, I think, pretty well. But I do think there's some pretty significant differences. And I think it's important that we understand that, the things that guys can do at a college level physically might not be stuff that high school kids can do physically. And to ask them to try to do those things, in my opinion, is like putting a square peg in a round hole. It just doesn't work. So we really try to figure out what our kids are really good at. Obviously improve those deficiencies, but really try to take advantage of what they do well, whether that's move in space, whether that's be really physical, whatever it is, we try to take advantage of those and really try to fit our scheme with the personnel we have rather than the other way around. I've embedded some of the video or all of the video into the presentation. So if anyone wants a copy, likes it and wants a copy, shoot me an email or a text, call my office line, and I'll certainly can send you the presentation whenever you would like. But the video's in there, so you can have it all and see kind of how we do our everyday drills and how we prepare our kids for zone blocking. So what's our philosophy offensive line-wise? Like many people, we want to be really, really physical. We pride ourselves in being physically and mentally tough. We require our kids to be physical players. And we not only require it, we demand it. And it's super important. And I know you guys do the same thing. You can't play the position without having a level of physicality. We also try to create angles. While we are a big school, we always don't have the biggest guys. And any of you that have coached high school understand that. So we're going to try to do our best to create angles within our blocking schemes to give our kids the best advantage to win those blocks. We want guys that are selfless and humble. Pet peeve of mine and It's not an indictment on anyone. It's just my own pet peeve. I always tell our younger coaches that come in, when they talk about my guys did this, my guys did that. They're not your guys. They're our guys. We're a team. We're all together. And we talk to our offensive linemen. Not my quarterback. It's our quarterback. So we kind of try to live by that mentality. It's not my guys, but it's our guys. And I think traditionally, offensive linemen are selfless and humble. You kind of that is one of those things that is stuck on you if you're an offensive lineman, because you ain't getting the ball, your name's not getting in the paper. You've got to understand that what you're doing benefits the team. And I think most guys that play the position understand that really well. We want to play fast. We want to get off the ball. We want to be able to run and move in space. Those are prerequisites, in my opinion, for zone blocking. If a guy can't block in space, he's going to have a real problem with being able to zone block. It's not gap down. It's not gap schemes. It's not power schemes. It's kind of step, react, block in space. So we need guys that have some semblance of athleticism, and we look for those. We try to identify those kids. He may be a 210-pound sophomore, but we feel like if we can get him up to 230 pounds, that kid's going to be a really good offensive lineman for us. Now, certainly we've had bigger guys, we've had smaller guys, but we want guys that can move in space and really get off the ball. Obviously, smart guys that understand the concept of the play that we're running and not just their assignment. Because if they can understand the concept and not just the assignment, then they can make adjustments within the play. And as anyone that's coached before, kids have to be able to make post-snap adjustments. That means as the play is going on, they need to be able to adjust and do what's required to be able to run that specific play. And the only way they can do that is if they understand the concept of the play, not just their assignment. Because that assignment's going to move, it's going to change, it's going to be a different person than they expected, and they've got to be able to make those adjustments. So understanding conceptually what we're trying to do is super, super important. And then obviously, I talked about it earlier, we want to play to a kid's strength. What works in college or another program may not work for us. And so we want to make sure we identify what are our kids' strengths, and we want to build upon those and make sure we're highlighting those and taking advantage of them. Certainly, we work on deficiencies. We want to get you better at these things and these things that you struggle with. But we want to make sure we highlight those strengths. And then we want to keep it simple. And I know everyone says that, but we truly do. I mean, people ask me all the time, like, how do you call your zone play? And I say, people are going to laugh. If it's zone right, the quarterback gets in the huddle and says, zone right on one, zone right on one. The kids know it. We keep it simple. Our head coach's philosophy is whatever we do, we are going to make it the easiest for those 5 offensive linemen to understand than anyone else. The receivers might have to figure a little bit more out. The quarterback might have to figure a little bit more out. The running backs might have to figure a little bit more out. We're going to do everything in our power to keep it as simple for those 5 guys as we can. And we do a really good job of doing that. So from a philosophy perspective, this is probably a lot of stuff that you guys do. But if you highlight it, if you focus on it, if you make that a core of how you teach, how you instruct, what you demand, I think you'll see your kids start to improve. So today, we're going to talk a little bit about zone blocking, why we like zone, the benefits of it, and how it can really enhance our overall run game. So our inside zone principles, again, we go by a philosophy called drive and stop. And it's the best way that we found we could explain it to kids. That's why we call it that. That's it. So we have to find a way to drive or move the defense in one direction and then stop it to create running lanes. So for us, we don't mind, and I know you hear this all the time, zone blocking, you want to get double teams at the point of attack, get vertical movement. While that is certainly, we would love that, it's not always doable. So we've kind of said, if we can get horizontal or vertical drives, we'll live with it. What we can't have is penetration. Penetration takes away vertical run lanes and the running back's ability to bend or bang the inside zone play. So if we can get you moving side to side, or we can get you moving up the field, we feel like we've created run lanes for our running back. Okay? But if we get penetration, it takes away those run lanes. So we'll live with that vertical push. We'll live with that horizontal push, but we can't live with penetration. And we're going to utilize angles to create those run lanes. We play a lot of 50 defenses with overhang nines that slant angle. And, I've been to many a zone clinic where guys will say, hey, we're gonna get vertical run lanes and we're gonna run underneath that 9 technique coming off the edge. We're gonna double team that 4-eye and we're gonna run underneath that 9 technique. Well, that may be true in the league you play in or what you see. But for us in our league, those 9s make plays on zone. And so we found out that if we block those 9s, we have a much better chance of being successful. So we want to utilize the angle. If I've got a 4-eye and a 9 and I know they're slanting to me as a guard and a tackle, I can call white or fan and then we can block out, and we've created a natural run lane just by the angle. So we're going to utilize angles to create those natural run lanes. For us, we do use aiming points in our inside zone talk. For our front side guys, center guard, tackle, our aiming point is the inside number of the defender, inside hip of the defender. And we're looking to drive that defender and create that, again, vertical or horizontal movement. On the backside, our aiming point is the play side number, play side hip of the defender. Again, we're looking for those guys to try and stop the defense, to try to stop it from pursuing to the football. So on the front side, we drive it. On the back side, we stop it. Now, as you guys all know, you got to be creative in how you stop the zone, how you stop defenders in inside and outside zone. And you can do it in a bunch of creative ways. And I know you guys all know these and have seen these. You can block it, whamming with a tight end or just cutting off with a backside tight end. You can read it with your cue. You can reach it with backside cutoffs, or you could freeze it using dread or stret action across the backside defender's face. We utilize all of them. I just think it gives us a real advantage when teams aren't quite sure how we're going to affect that backside guy. Are we going to block him? Are we going to read him? Are we going to freeze him? I just think it really gives us a good advantage in the inside run game. So let's take a look at a couple of these, kind of how we utilize these. So again, this is just kind of a quick clip of drive and stop and just of inside zone. We're running zone left here. And so we're going to see we've got to push the defense. Okay. We've got to push the defense and we've got to stop it somewhere here. Stop it somewhere here. So you can see here as this goes, we get great push or drive on the front side. And again, we've got to find a way to get this cut off or to affect this backside stuff. In this case, we get it reached. Our left guard, our right guard does a great job of getting to his play side number and gets it reached. One more time. Gets to that play side number, gets it reached. We've got it pushed or driven, and we create a natural run lane. So when I talk about drive and stop, I'm talking we got to move the defense one way, and then we've got to affect it or stop it on the backside. And you can see here, one more time, we push, drive, we stop, and a natural run lane is created. Super simple, in theory, as we all know. Let's look at blocking it. Just the wham here. We're in a king set. Running zone right here. And you can see our king back coming across the formation to block it or wham that backside 5 technique. We're going to push it here. Our aiming points aren't great, but we get it pushed here. We stop it here. Running back presses, front side A, hard, sees the bend, hits it. Like to see a better aiming point here, but again, understanding the concept, this guy knows I've got to look back to this backside backer trying to get over the top. On this wham, we like to be on his inside hip. Gets a little wide, but a good job of creating the stop in the defense. Here's an example of us reading it. And again, now we're going to use the quarterback to affect the backside. So again, we want to push or drive, and we got to stop it somewhere. Well, we're going to stop it by the quarterback's action. So again, everything is pushed. Quarterback freezes the 9 technique, and we're able to run underneath it. One more time. He needs to get vertical. Left guard needs to get vertical quicker. Shouldn't be shuffling. Zone step and go. Right tackle does a good job collapsing that. He's a backside B-gap defender. He's responsible. The tackle's responsible for the backside B-gap. We wash it, and we freeze or stop this by the quarterback's action. Here's an example, backside reach. Backside reach. Again, center guard tackle. We're in a heavy formation here, so we're in a 3-man surface over here. We're going to get this drive, this push, and we've got to get this nose cut off. Backside nose. Looks like he's in a tight one. His aiming point, the right guard's aiming point here is his play side number. We're running zone left here. So he's got to get to that number. He's got to reach that on the backside. Keeps working to it. And again, you don't need a ton, but you can see the push, and the stop. The push and the stop. Really good job by the backside guard there. Clip's a little late, but he's got a great first step. We'll talk about our footwork here shortly. And then the last one is the freeze. So we're going to use, in this instance, we're going to use what we call hack motion to freeze these backside guys, or at least slow them down. So we have the chance to run under them. Now this can be a combination too, because we get it reached here, but you can see the effect it has by motioning, by our jet motion. Now, like anything else, guys, we we run a crap ton of jet. Okay. It's a big part of our offense. So if you're not a heavy jet team, this might not be the way you want to affect the backside of zone because teams aren't going to honor it. But because we run it so much, you have to honor it. Okay. So this is just another example of how we will affect that backside. So you can see jet across his face, great action. I got to freeze. He can't just crash down and tackle zone here. He's got to honor that jet motion, and it slows him down. Same with the backside Mike. He's got to honor this. Now, we do a really good job of getting it pushed or driven here, and we get it stopped here. But we've got it stopped in a couple places. So, for example, if this got across his face and we weren't able to get that reached, we still got a chance with the jet motion of stopping these three. Really good example of freezing it. Last time. So that, guys, is our zone, kind of our philosophies behind zone and how we affect the backside. It's a really good play for us, and we can build a lot of stuff off of it, especially in our read game. So we won't take it out. Now, we've kind of evolved as an offense to some of the stretch stuff, some of the buck sweep action that a lot of teams are running, just because we feel like we can still get some of the quarterback runs out of that. But we're going to stay true to zone and running zone in a multitude of different ways, because here's the beauty of it. It doesn't affect those guys up front. All that window dressing we're doing doesn't change their assignment, their job. And so that leads me into kind of what we're going to talk about today, which is our zone progression. We call these EDDs. I'm sure you guys have used the same name or similar names, but these are everyday drills that we're going to talk about. How we get our guys ready to block inside zone. So these everyday drills we do, literally we do every day. It gets monotonous, it gets redundant. But I think when we have success and knock on wood, we've had a lot of success running the football, our kids understand its importance and they take it seriously, and it's not a go through the motions kind of thing. It's our first 2 periods of practice every day, and they are fast and they are furious, but they are also done correctly. And we really, 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 really focus on the details of doing not only the drill correctly, but then making sure when we get into group or inside run or team that we are reinforcing what we are teaching in these everyday drills. So when we talk to a kid about rolling his backside knee or taking a 6-inch zone step or loading his hands or all those things, we want to make sure we're harping on those in our group periods, in our inside run periods, in our half line periods, in games. We're going to use that same language, and we're going to require that they do it that way, because the more they can hear us verbalize that stuff, and the more they know that it's important, and the more that we're correcting them or encouraging them or telling them what they're doing is right, and they see success off of that, the more you build that trust with your players that, oh, shit, this guy's telling me the stuff he's telling me is right. Like, it works. The first 2 things we do, our line drill and our duck walk, are things we do pre-practice. So when we come out to practice, as you know, we've got a specialty period where we're snapping and punting and all that stuff. Well, we've got the O-line, and we're going through our line drill and our duck walks, just because we want to be able to make sure we're getting those in every day. And sometimes practice, depending on the plan, we may only get 20 minutes of individual. Just depends on the day. So we need to make sure we take advantage of that. So if we can steal time in pre-practice, we're going to do it. So the first thing we do is what we just like to, again, try to keep it simple. We call line drill. And we've got a one-step line drill and a two-step line drill. Our one step is we'll start off going zone right. So we will line the kids up on starting at the 5-yard line, going to the 20, and we'll put 4 kids on each line, and they'll be facing the sidelines. So they'll be like in vertical rows facing the sideline, so they can all do the drill at the same time. We don't have time to get 2 guys up. You got 10, 12, 15, 20, offensive linemen. Sometimes you can't go 2 lines. You've got to go everyone doing the drill at once. And so that's what we do with line drill. So we've got everyone facing the sideline in rows of 4 with their right foot on the line. And we'll give them a set hit. And what they'll do is they'll take their right foot and they will move it off that line 6 inches and then 6 inches up the field. They will drive off their backside left leg and what we call roll the knee. If you're a triple option enthusiast, you know the term roll the knee. But we want to really drive off that backside leg. As we take that first step, we are going to load hands. Now, I know, you talk to 20 people and maybe 15 will tell you you're stupid to load your hands. When we load the hands, we're not putting them in holsters. We're not throwing our elbows back. We're not throwing our hands back. We're putting them right in front of our holsters. And then when we get to our 2-step, we'll punch and step at the same time. I like to tell people we would love to have 5 offensive linemen that are 400-pound bench pressers and don't need to generate power. They have it already. But we don't have those kids. So for us, loading hands works. Certainly, if we have kids that can generate enough power, we're going to tell them to go right now with their hands. But we don't have a lot of those kids, so we load the hands. As they take that first step, we want their shoulders over their knees and their knees over their toes. We want forward lean. Again, this goes back to knowing your personnel and know who your kids are. But for the most part, we need to generate forward momentum. So that's why we want our knees over our toes. Our shoulders over our knees and our knees over our toes. Okay, in a good power position. It's a 6-inch step. It's not a foot step. It's not a 12-inch step. Okay, it's a 6-inch step. Apologies. And as we get into the second step, we talk about loading the hands and shooting the hands. And our big emphasis there is marrying up that second step with our punch. We do not want to punch sorry, I'm at work. We do not want to punch when our feet are off the ground. We want to be balanced always. And if we can do that, we feel like we have a chance to be successful.
Excuse the interruption. The department chair meeting will start at 2 o'clock in the community room. 2 o'clock in the community room, department chair meeting. Thank you.
Again, apologies, I'm at work. So as you'll see in the drill, the big emphasis for us is really, really driving off that backside knee, really driving off that that backside foot, generating power, getting ourselves going forward. And then we talk, the standard issue, elbows in, thumbs up. We want tight hands. We want to get inside. We want to grab cloth. So let's look at a couple 1-steps here. And again, pre-practice, we've got everyone lined up and we would have a row at the 5, a row at the 10, a row at the 15, all facing us, and we're all doing this at the same time. So again, we're just going to load hands, drive off that backside knee, pop. And again, you can see there, we're not throwing our hands back. They're right in front of our holsters, right in front of our holsters. One more time. and we'll reload, and we'll do this 5 or 6 times in a row just to get the feeling. Driving off that backside leg, gaining ground, shoulders over knees, knees over toes, getting ready to go forward. Here's the 2-step, just putting it together kind of. Again, roll the backside knee, punch, strong base. Thumbs up, elbows in. Thumbs up, elbows in. Like to not extend so much with the punch there. Keep a little tighter elbows there. Be in a good power position. And again, we'll go through that, guys. We'll go through that 4 or 5 times in a row, and then we'll switch and go left. And again, is it a warm-up? Absolutely. Does it get them going and get them ready for practice? Yes. But we're also really, really focusing on the details. Rolling the backside knee, loading the hands, punching with tight elbows, thumbs up, elbows in, shoulders over knees, knees over toes. All those kind of good power positions we're going to emphasize, even in that EDD or even in that pre-practice drill. And that drill might last 3 or 4 minutes, but they're going to get right and left probably 20 to 25 reps in. That's great work. And over the course of a season, over the course of a kid's career, he's going to get better and more comfortable doing that and using that footwork going forward. We go right from our line drill into duck walks. And we do 3 sets of these. And we go into our shoots, and we're going to do 3 sets with a burst, and that will be rapid fire. We won't give a set go on that. The kids just know automatically. As soon as line drill's over, they're in the shoots, and they get their duck walks. Again, is it partially a warm-up? Absolutely. But we also want to emphasize the things that you guys all, I know, emphasize when you're talking about duck walks. Pounding those insteps, being a knee bender, slow them down. They always try to go too fast, and even in the clip I have, they're going too fast. I'm going to have a talk with our other O-line coach about that. And always end with a burst. Get them moving. Get them burst. Get them running out of there. And I don't want to say it's a standard issue duck walk, but it is. We want to pound those end steps. We want to be slow and methodical. This isn't great. We want to be a lot slower. Really, really emphasize getting your hips down, pounding the insteps, and then bursting out. This is just too fast. As we get into our EDDs, our everyday drills during practice, we go right into the shoots and start our shoot progression. And the first thing we do is 1 step times 3. And that is the same as the line drill, but now we're in the shoot and we're going to add a duck walk. Okay, so we're going to go to the right 3 times, to the left 3 times. And we are going to roll the backside knee, load the hands, and then on the third duck, or on the third hit, we're going to duck walk out. So again, just re-emphasizing that first step, how important it is, doing it over again. Always finish with a burst. We're going to use boards. They're going to put their if we're going right, they're going to put their right foot in the middle of the board. So they have an aiming point, so they know they've got to step over it, gain width and get vertical. Always in a strong base position, athletic position, feet a bit wider than the shoulders, the hips down. And then we'll move into a 3-step progression where they step, punch, duck. Step, punch, duck. And again, in that, we're emphasizing tight elbows. Thumbs up, elbows in, punch in the power position. Again, strong position. We don't want to overextend our arms. We want to be really, really strong in there. We want to have a tight core and really emphasize the duck walk. And then we talk about, as I mentioned, and you'll see this when we start hitting the bag, we want to emphasize that second step. Get your second step in the ground. Time it up with the punch. I don't want to punch a guy with 1 foot in the air. I have no chance to be successful in that way. I've got to get those cleats in the ground. You guys use those. I'm sure you use those terms all the time. We use them too. Why? Because they work. So we really want to try to marry up that punch and that second step. And then obviously, like all of our drills, we're going to finish with a burst. So here's just the 1 step times 3. You can see just the same as the line drill. Reload, go, reload, and then finish with a duck. And again, we want to be a little bit slower on that duck, a little bit more methodical, and then finish with a burst out of the chutes. One more time. Roll the knee. Load the hands. Like to have our eyes up. Boom, 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 boom. Get out. Good. Here's the 3-hit progression now. Again, just kind of putting it together. Roll the knee. Punch power. Duck out. Finish with a burst. One more time. Good knee roll, good punch. And again, want to emphasize that duck a little bit more. A little slower, a little more methodical. So after we get through our 1 step times 3 and then our 3-step progression, we get into a form fit, okay? And this simulates the finish position after each player has taken his first 2 steps. We want to get the kids to understand what a great fit position feels like. So again, elbows tight, thumbs up. We want to grab cloth in there. Be in a power position, not fully extended. You're in a strong position with a slight bend in the elbows. Your neck is bold, your eyes are up looking at his numbers. Your back is arched, and you guys know, especially you high school coaches, this is a tough thing to teach. You know, we talk about, squeezing your shoulder blades together, spreading your chest, but you really got to get that flat back, that back arched. Feet are in a power-based position. They're slightly wider than shoulder width. We talk about getting ragdolled. If my feet are in a narrow base, I've got a really good chance of a more athletic linebacker engaging me and throwing me off because I'm not balanced. And so again, everything we try to do, we try to finish with in a strong base position. Okay. Now, we like to use the term power or strong base rather than wide base because, kids, especially high school kids, will take things so literal that their feet will go way too wide. And now they're off balance in just a different way. So we want to be in that always athletic, power, strong position. And then and as we get in this fit, we'll let the kids fit it. We want to get them in we want them to feel what a great fit feels like. Okay. Eyes up, thumbs up, elbows in, arched back, neck bold, good knee bend, athletic or power base. And then we're going to duck walk it out and finish with a burst. We're going to shove the finish. We want to get used to, as I get a guy on skates, I want to extend my arms and now run my feet into the ground. So we try to finish with that burst and with that extension. So let's check that out. So you can see here. Now, one is better than the other. You can see here, he's in a great fit position. Elbows are tight, heads up, good arch, hips are underneath him, strong power position. We're going to duck it out, duck it out, duck it out, duck it out, finish. Here, like to get the eyes up a little bit more. Great arch, get the eyes up, get the eyes up, get the eyes up, and finish. But again, let them feel what it's like to get in that good, strong power position, okay, with their eyes up, their elbows tight, strong power base, arched back, and let them feel what it's like to drive on a defender. Good work there. Now, after we go through the FFD, we go to our one hit and go, which is just simply putting it all together on a bag. Now we've got the bag in front, a defender holding a bag, and we're going to go right step zone, one hit and go, left step zone, one hit and go. And we're going to put it all together. So we're going to roll the knee, get width, get vertical with the first step, load the hands, drive the second step in hands at the same time, elbows in, thumbs up, grab the cloth, good strong power base, have our flat back with our head up, and always finish. So we're just putting it together. It's just going, starting from the initial first step to the completion of the block, putting it all together. So again, good examples here. Good knee roll, really good punch and finish. If you notice, his punch in his second step timed up perfectly here. Maybe a little bit better load of the hands, but the timing is really, really good. And we finish. Same thing here. Boom. Roll that knee, pop. Gain ground. Like to have his head in it just a little bit more to start. Swallow that thing up. And finish. So, guys, and these are, again, it's probably a half-hour presentation. We will get these drills done, and again, depending on the time we have, between 10 and 15 minutes. Now, we're going to have 5 guys in the chutes, and we're going to go fairly quickly. You know, the first couple days of training camp and our kind of mini camps in the spring and all that kind of stuff, we slow this down, and it takes a little bit longer. But as the kids get more comfortable, now we can really start coaching the details, but going through it a little bit quicker. But we're always going to emphasize those details, and we're going to stop and make kids do it again and reteach it, explain it in a different way, but emphasize the details. Emphasize the details. To us, they're super important. But this is just a 10 to 20 minute glimpse of what we do these every day. I mean, there is not one day that goes by that we are not doing these drills. Now we can change some stuff. We'll at sometimes we'll put guys at backer depth and have to run on linebackers and have the linebackers move, and we'll do different drills. But these are getting done every day. Every day, regardless of the circumstances, we are doing these drills in the chutes. And it's one of the reasons that we have been successful at running inside zone is because there has been so much attention to detail on these nuanced techniques. Again, as I conclude here, I really want to take a moment and thank Jeff for putting these clinics on. They're awesome. I humbled and grateful that he asked me to do one. I hope you took a snippet away or something that maybe you didn't think about, you got. As I said, if you want a copy of this PowerPoint, I have no problem emailing it to you. Just shoot me an email, let me know. But again, I think if there was one thing, I certainly do not have all the answers. But I do think one thing that we do really well is we really take advantage of what our kids do well. And we don't try to put a square peg in a round hole. Just because I saw, this guy talk about it at a clinic or saw this college player do it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a great fit for us. And just because, we've all heard the buzzwords and the tag words and all this, drive catch and all this kind of stuff. You do what works best for your kids. Figure out what that is, what they do well, and then expand on it, take advantage of it, enhance it, and make it the best it can be. Again, thanks, guys, for listening. I really appreciate it. If you have questions, you have concerns, you want to talk some ball, my contact info is on the first slide. would love to hear from you. Everyone have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy. Go Browns.